and welcome to all faculty, staff, current students, parents, and new students of the class of 2021 plus. A special welcome to our senior leadership and alumni board volunteers. To the new students, let me be among the first to welcome you formally to your school, your campus, and what we hope you will call your home for the next 4+ years. It is a privilege to welcome you all to our program this morning, which will give you a chance to hear from some of our top administration members, Dr. Farnam Jahanian, our interim university president, and Gina Castellino, vice president of student affairs and dean of students. My name is Michaela Lewis, and I am one of 7 head orientation counselors for this year's orientation. It is an honor to be standing here welcoming you all today. On behalf of the entire orientation staff, we are extremely excited that orientation is finally here. We are looking forward to an incredible week, sharing what it means to be part of the CMU community and learning more about each of you. We are especially excited to share with you all there is to love about Carnegie Mellon. Up next, it is an honor to introduce Dr. Farnam Jahanian, our interim university president. Dr. Farnam Jahanian began serving as the interim president of Carnegie Mellon University in July 2017 by appointment of the Board of Trustees. Prior to that, he was the university's provost and chief academic officer and was instrumental in institutional and academic leadership, planning, and implementation. Known for his deep engagement with students and his dedication to improving their experience on campus, Dr. Jahanian has already had an enormous impact at CMU. He's a well-accomplished computer scientist, entrepreneur, and has held several other academic and government leadership positions. Today, Dr. Jahanian and his wife Tris are also proud CMU parents to a rising junior. Ladies and gentlemen, the president of Carnegie Mellon University, Dr. Farnam Jahanian.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please sit down, please. Thank you very much. Well, good morning, everyone. What a crowd. Well, students, I know your parents dragged you in this morning. My apologies. I know it's 9 a.m. Sunday morning. It is so good to have all of you here. Well, first of all, thank you, Michaela, for your kind introduction and welcoming remarks, and also for your leadership throughout the orientation week. Debbie, thank you for your thoughtful leadership of the Alumni Association Board, and also thank to all of our alumni volunteers. Parents and family members, on behalf of the entire Carnegie Mellon University community, I am thrilled to welcome you to CMU. And to the class of 2021, are you excited to be here? Well, the deans up here and the management team, they couldn't hear you. All right, I'm going to repeat my question. And to the class of 2021, are you excited to be here? Much better, much better. Congratulations on all of your accomplishments and achievements that have led you to this moment. You are among the brightest, most motivated, exceptionally gifted, and wonderfully independent members of your generation. You have earned this. Congratulations to all of you. But we all recognize that you have arrived here with a little help from your loved ones. Class of 2021, would you please join me in thanking your parents and loved ones for their support and encouragement? I'm also delighted to be joined by my wife, Tris, who is sitting up front. And also, it's my pleasure to introduce our Provost and Chief Academic Officer, Laurie Weingart, right up front. To our parents and our students, let me introduce you to the university's exceptional team of academic and administrative leaders. Deans and members of the executive management team and our Vice Provost, would you please stand as a group and be recognized? They're all up here, folks. These are our deans, our provost, our vice provost, members of the management team. These are the individuals who run this university. In addition, I would like to welcome and thank the many counselors, resident assistants, and members of the student affairs staff who are here to greet you, especially our 7 head orientation counselors who are sitting right up here. I'm going to call their name and I'm going to ask them to stand up. Please hold your applause until I announce everyone's name. Michaela Lewis, from whom you just heard. Apeksha Atal, who's right up here up front. Nate Christie. Emily Ernst. Caitlin Smith. Ricardo Tucker. By the way, Ricardo's sister is a member of our first-year class. And Jeff Zhao. And of course, Ann Wichner, our Associate Dean of Student Affairs. Please join me in thanking all of them. Thank you. Today, for many of you, fulfills 18 years of preparation and dreams of spreading your wings and asserting your individuality. Students, you may be worrying a little bit that your parents will call you or text you every day to check on you. But I wouldn't be so sure. The anxiety that you see in their faces may really be a look of contemplation, daydreaming, as they're thinking about what they're going to turn your room into. No worries. While they're busy turning your rooms into man caves and disco rooms, you'll be doing something much, much cooler, getting one of the best educations in the world. I'm going to go off the script for a second. The image on the left, on the right, is a man cave. This is for our students. The one on the left is a disco room. If you're wondering how I came up with the idea of a disco room, let me assure you that if your parents grew up in the 70s, your dad owned a 100% polyester disco shirt. You know who you are. You know who you are. I'm so thrilled to be serving as president of this university. I'm also a computer science faculty member, as you just heard. But most importantly, I'm a CMU parent. In fact, we have several CMU parents among us, among the leadership team and the management team and our deans. I'm going to ask past parents and current parents of our alumni, I should say parents of current students and alumni, would you please stand up and be recognized? My daughter Sarah is about to start her junior year, but it feels only like yesterday when Tris and I were sitting where you all are sitting now, with a mixture of apprehension, worry, excitement, and maybe a little bit of jealousy. Having dropped off 3 children at college, I can say that nothing quite prepares you for when your kid says, "No thanks, Mom and Dad, I'm all good. I don't need you to stick around anymore." Trust me, your kids are going to be okay. Parents, you're going to be okay too. You're going to be fine. Let me share with you a few thoughts on our class of 2021. You're going to like this. Of the 20,497 applicants to Carnegie Mellon this year, roughly 4,500 were admitted. And from that group, about 1,670 of you join us today. You know, more and more of the world's best students are choosing Carnegie Mellon over other top institutions. The overall yield this year has risen to 37%, and that's from 30% just 4 years ago. In fact, yield is up across every college and school this year. Dietrich College of Social Science and Humanities up 4%. Mellon College of Science up 7%. Tepper School of Business up 8%. And this class has set a new university record. This is a milestone that our entire team is very excited about. For the first time in the history of Carnegie Mellon University, more than half of our incoming first-year class are women. By the way, the guys are just as happy, I can tell you this. In fact, our first-year class currently stands at 51% female. We have seen record number or near record enrollment of female students across every school and college. Let me give you a couple of examples. In Tepper School of Business, more than 57% of incoming undergraduate class is women. Women make up more than half of this year's incoming class in our School of Computer Science. That's 3 times the national average. I'm getting there, Jim. I'm going to get to engineering right now. There you are. And women make up 43% of the College of Engineering first-year students. That's double the national average. Your class has students from 45 states from this country. You're also an international community. About 16% of you are coming from 27 nations from around the world. CMU is exceptionally multicultural and multinational, a true microcosm of our changing world. Our global community includes 1,400 faculty from 48 nations and 110,000 alumni in 130 countries around the world. None of this is by chance, of course. A diverse and inclusive community is the foundation for excellence in learning, research, creativity, and human development. Our commitment to inclusion is a core value. Last weekend, together with so many across the nation and throughout the Carnegie Mellon community, we were shocked and outraged at the racist, anti-Semitic, and homophobic hatred and violence that broke out in Charlottesville, Virginia. We must be clear. Violent acts are not protected by First Amendment. And the raw hatred behind it is antithetical to our values. We condemn this evil. We reject bigotry in all its forms. It has no place in society. Here at Carnegie Mellon, we all bear responsibility for ensuring that this university is diverse, inclusive, and welcoming. You need to help us nurture that culture. When we recruit diverse perspectives and ideas to our community, help people from all walks of life succeed, and consider ideas from across the spectrum, in a culture of civil discourse, we all win. On a lighter note, I mentioned that the class of 2021 is distinct, and I'm thrilled to unveil yet another reason why. You arrived just in time for a year-long party. This fall, yes, it's a year-long party. This fall, we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the merger of Carnegie Institute of Technology and the Mellon Institute of Science, the moment we became Carnegie Mellon University, a comprehensive research university. Today, I am pleased to unveil the theme of our anniversary. The theme is For the Founders. Look around. We've already got it up on the walls. The Founders theme celebrates not only where we came from, but where we're headed. Andrew Carnegie and Andrew Mellon, who created our two exceptional parent institutions, were founders. So are you. This anniversary celebrates you and your capacity for new, bold ideas, creative expressions, and stories. This is a unique opportunity for us to come together to celebrate the creators, artists, inventors, and problem solvers who have made CMU what it is today. And we will shape the world we will all inhabit tomorrow. CMU is truly distinctive. We're one of the few places on the planet to offer outstanding programs in engineering, computer science, and also highly rated School of Art, Music, and Drama. Perhaps what makes CMU unique is the way in which we intertwine science, technology, and business with social science, humanities, and the arts to create an interdisciplinary culture where innovative thinking knows no bounds. Our culture of problem solving and relentless creativity delivers work that matters. In robotics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, in fine arts and design, in the natural and life sciences, in big data and social sciences, in neuroscience and cognitive science, in advanced manufacturing and engineering, in data-driven decision-making and public policy, in cybersecurity and privacy, in business and entrepreneurship, in technology-enhanced learning and digital humanities. And that's only scratching the surface. By the way, we're also working on predicting the weather and also changing the weather. Our scientists and engineers are working on it. Some people know of CMU as the place that created artificial intelligence. Other people know us as the place where the student wrote the musical Pippin, which went on to become a Broadway sensation. Or, for another generation, the place that produced much of the original cast of Hamilton. Here are some examples of our students at work and an illustration of why it is delightful to be at a university that has leading programs in the arts. Set to music from last year's performance of the musical Ragtime. Here it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Getting Ready Rag!
Those are CMU students, by the way. And if you use awards as a benchmark, affiliates have been awarded 20 Nobel Prizes, 12 Turing Awards, and 114 Emmy Awards. That doesn't even include the 17 Emmy nominations CMU alumni got just a few weeks ago. Today, CMU alumni, faculty, and yes, students are tackling the hardest challenges facing humanity. Let me show you a couple of examples.
You know what keeps us up at night? In 20 years, the Earth will have nearly 9 billion people and not enough food. So at Carnegie Mellon University, we're growing food in a whole new way. Using artificial intelligence, we analyze plants, improve sustainable growth, and get solutions to farmers. And thanks to a team of really smart robots, we keep the momentum growing. There's work to be done worldwide. We do the work that matters.
There's one more video.
The traffic lights are talking, and the streetlights and cars have joined the conversation. They are figuring out how to move billions of people in the most efficient way. At Carnegie Mellon University, we create intersections that actually learn, so we all get home faster, safer, and with 20% fewer emissions. We're not just blowing smoke. There's work to be done worldwide. We do the work that matters.
In addition to the world-class research and education that goes on here, we're deeply committed to enhancing the CMU experience for all of our students. This is a priority for all of us at the university. I see the CMU experience as having two dimensions. The personal dimension that allows each of us to live healthy and rich lives. And second, community dimension, in which all of our students, faculty, and staff feel connected to one another by a common sense of purpose, pride, and spirit. To support this, we have made some significant investments in recent years. Last spring, we debuted new state-of-the-art physical fitness center in the Cohen University Center. We also completed and opened Scott Hall, including wet and dry laboratory for engineering, collaborative spaces, and a clean room facility. And as you've probably noticed from the giant crane looming over campus, construction of the new Tepper Quadrangle is set to be completed at the end of this academic year. In addition to housing the Tepper School of Business, the 300,000 square feet Tepper Quad building will host a university welcome center, the Schwartz Center for Entrepreneurship, a laboratory for technology-enhanced learning, a fitness center, an auditorium, and new dining options. These facilities will be available to all of our students. Just a few weeks ago, our Board of Trustees approved a $20 million initiative to renovate historic classrooms and learning spaces across our campus. All of these projects that I just mentioned are well underway or have already been completed. So all of you, class of 2021, will benefit from them. So as you see, we're more than a collection of classes, academic majors, and departments. We are a community dedicated to the personal and intellectual growth of our students.
What campus involves some of the best drama students as well as some of the best engineers and then artists. If you put them together, bouncing ideas off each other, it's pretty special.
The places that we go every day actually impact us a lot. When you're in an environment and it speaks to you, you actually feel better in this space.
You like seeing people laying out on the beach or sitting at picnic tables and having that shared space where you can walk in and say, hey, can I sit here too? That's how you really make connections, network. You never know who you may meet. And that's one of the best things about CMU.
That's a video we made this spring inviting students to submit their own ideas for campus upgrades, 4 of which are already underway and will be completed this year. This says so much about our students and their level of engagement. Before I wrap up, a little advice for you first-time parents. As your sons and daughters evolve into fully formed men and women here at CMU, let your role evolve with them. At a certain point, you will find that instead of being the problem solver, it's much better to be an advisor and a counselor who supports them as they solve problems for themselves. And while you probably shouldn't call them every day, I know you'll be tempted, I do want to encourage you to stay engaged in your children's lives and with the university. There are many opportunities to volunteer or get involved through the local alumni chapters, and of course our parent leadership program. There are also many opportunities to come back to campus. In addition to the homecoming anniversary weekend, we have family weekend in October, and also our carnival weekend in April. You don't want to miss that. Now, class of 2021, I have 3 practical pieces of advice for you. First, don't be afraid to venture outside your academic boundaries. CMU is known for producing innovative thinking at the edges and intersection of traditional fields. So step outside your comfort zone. Indulge in reading that's not required. Take part in activities in classroom, outside the classroom. Volunteer at a local school, or go to a lecture outside your major. By embracing a multitude of experiences, you create a context for discovery and creativity and learning beyond what you imagined was possible. Second, focus on the present. A wise person once said that one of life's ultimate luxuries is the power to choose how you spend your time. In college, you have that luxury. So make every experience a meaningful one, and every interaction a learning opportunity. Take advantage of this extraordinary intellectual and creative community. Third, and perhaps most importantly, treat yourself with care. These next 4 years will undoubtedly be some of the most transformative of your young lives. Take this journey slowly, thoughtfully, and with attention to mind, body, and spirit. Eat right, go for a run or a bike ride. Trust your instincts and be safe. Make time for yourself. Make time to help a friend on campus. So to recap, venture widely. Focus on the present. Take time to reflect and take care of yourselves and each other. And if you remember anything from today's remark, let it be this: you're not alone here. When you encounter moments of uncertainty or face challenges, leverage the incredible network of administrators and advisors and faculty and staff who are always available to offer guidance. If you see me around campus, if you see our deans around campus, say hello. Let us know how you're doing. And lean on each other. This is one of the most profound ways in which we can act as a community and thrive as individuals. Class of 2021, if you can't already tell, we are just as excited as you are to get started. Parents and family members, once again, congratulations to all of you. So let me say it one more time. Class of 2021, welcome to Carnegie Mellon University. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Jehanian, for that wonderful welcome. Hello, Class of 2021 Plus. Woo! My name is Apeksha Atal, and I am one of the 7 head orientation counselors for this year's orientation program. And it is my pleasure to introduce all of you to your Dean of Students, Gina Castellino. Dean Castellino came to Carnegie Mellon in 2002. And although she comes from the West Coast originally, and the Midwest is where she launched her career, Carnegie Mellon and Pittsburgh have become home for her and her family. Gina and Matt's kids, Thomas and Julia, who are 12 and 10 years old, are both unofficial mascots of Carnegie Mellon, where they love to interact with students who are their inspiration and role models. Dean Castellino served as our Dean of Students since 2010 and was named Vice President in July 2016. She leads 13 departments across campus with more than 200 staff who are dedicated to helping students achieve their potential and thrive at Carnegie Mellon. I personally saw Gina around campus throughout my academic career here at CMU, but didn't get a chance to actually speak with her until last semester when I wanted to get a second opinion on my senior thesis. While that may not be the ideal premise for a first encounter, Gina took to my story fondly and immediately engaged with me. What was most incredible about our meeting, however, was the fact that Gina took the opportunity to get to know me as a person before commenting on my thesis. She asked questions and made observations that made a meeting that I expected to be with an adult feel like one with a friend. That was my first encounter with Gina, and for many of you, this will be your first. She lives for the students of this university, and I know after seeing her a few times this week, she's incredibly excited to meet all of you. I introduced her to our orientation and residential staffs just a couple days ago as one of the friendliest faces on campus, and I'm honored today to introduce her to you similarly, class of 2021 plus. So without further ado, your Dean of Students, Gina Castellino.
Good morning. What a crowd. This is an extraordinary day. Apeksha, thank you so much for that warm introduction. You didn't tell me that I might tear up a little bit to hear what you had to say. I am so pleased to join my colleagues, President Jahanian, Apeksha, Michaela, the rest of the orientation staff, to welcome our new students and families to the university and to orientation, a really special time here at Carnegie Mellon. We've been preparing for your arrival for months, and we are so pleased that you've joined the community. I have one call and response I think that I'd like to ask for in my remarks before I introduce our panel, and I'd like the families and students to think a little bit about what you thought yesterday was going to be like while you waited patiently in your car in a line, while a group of students kept assuring you that soon you would be the next person or car to be unloaded, and moved in, and you were dreading what that was going to feel like, walking up multiple flights of stairs with belongings upon belongings upon belongings. Just remember how that felt yesterday. And then I want you to think about what it was actually like. And that experience, classic Carnegie Mellon, where we do things efficiently, with spirit, and with pride, all happened because of our extraordinary, mostly volunteer orientations team, our residential education staff, our alumni volunteers, our sports teams, our student organizations, our Greek community, who all come out in force to give you the warmest Carnegie Mellon welcome there is. So now what I'd like is the loudest applause in the room to thank them for making yesterday so easy. We're also a little bit competitive at Carnegie Mellon, so thanks for delivering on the loudest cheers. They definitely deserved it. So you heard this morning from President Jahanian how accomplished the class of 2021 is. By every measure, you are extraordinary. But it's not just the way we measure extraordinary in numbers, like things like SATs and GPAs. You are here because we see in you the talent, the intellect, the passion necessary to thrive in your chosen field. We also see in you that you have the leadership capacity and the commitment to your community to be the change makers we desperately need to make a real impact in society. It's an exciting time for our students as you launch your college years, but make no mistake, it is an exciting time for us as a university to watch the many ways you will change us for your contributions. And I know I speak for every parent under this tent. It is a time filled with great anticipation for you too. With all the excitement about the meaning of this transition, I do want to pause in recognition of what a big transition this is for our families. Students, your parents, your families, those who are here, who've spent those 18 years with you getting you ready for this day. Whether you're preparing for the disco room or some other space that you parents can't wait to build at home, we know it can be a bittersweet time. Whether this is the first time to drop off to college or the last time or somewhere in between, so many questions abound for everyone in this tent as you mark this momentous transition. Today's programs, including this morning's panel, are geared toward helping our families learn about our community, from the academic home you will make in your college or school, to the caring community that you and others will forge with one another, and the many staff we have here to support you in your endeavors. Students, we have a whole week of orientation to tell you all that you need to know and help you experience what it will be to thrive at Carnegie Mellon. Today's programs give a broad overview for families, so you have a window into what we know makes this place so very special. One, you should feel very confident at the end of the day, leaving your students as they begin their Carnegie Mellon education. So the rest of this morning's program, right here in the tent, is designed to introduce you to the many ways as a university we are committed to supporting students in achieving a transformative college experience. From what happens in the classroom, the studio, the lab, to the informal learning that happens through student involvement, leadership programs, community service, and the social connections that make up the life of the CMU student. So let me set up a little bit how I've comprised our panel, a group of individuals who will help me convey some of what makes Carnegie Mellon so very special. One of the things I cherish about my work, I think Apeksha did the best introduction to, and that is how much we care about the one-to-one connections we build with our students to support them in their pursuits at Carnegie Mellon. Whether as academic advisors, as faculty mentors, as student affairs staff, coaches, it's so rewarding to do what we do with your students. Today's program will provide an insight into these connections. As Apeksha described, I cherish the opportunity I have each day to spend time one-to-one with our students. So I'm so pleased we have a student who's joined us, our panel, who will introduce himself in a moment. That's probably the most obvious part of the Dean of Students role, is spending time with students. I've been at Carnegie Mellon, as Apeksha said, for 15 years now. And what I didn't anticipate at the outset of my tenure here is the role that our alumni would play and continue to play in the life of the university and candidly in my life for years to come. Keeping in touch with our alumni from around the world to learn of the impact they are making in their professions and in their communities is a humbling and gratifying privilege I have in my work. I also find that our alumni have such tremendous insight and perspective about the Carnegie Mellon journey that is invaluable to our current students as they learn from those who came before them. We're lucky to have 3 alumni on our panel who will soon introduce themselves. Finally, each and every day I get the opportunity to work with some of the world's brightest minds in their academic fields, our faculty. One of the fairly unique and very celebrated aspects of the CMU experience is the strong academic student affairs partnership we have forged in support of students' holistic education. I also really appreciate the work I do with parents who are invested in their kids' success and well-being. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to interact with many parents who find ways to connect with the university, whether in support of their individual child or as a volunteer ambassador. One of our panelists, in fact, checks 3 boxes that I've described as alumnus, faculty member, and parent. And I will now get to these introductions as we begin a conversation about their CMU experiences in hopes of helping the class of 2021, and importantly, your families, imagine the transformative experience that is about to unfold in the coming years. So with that, Will, can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Certainly. Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Will Weiner. I am an alum of CMU. I graduated class of 2013 from Dietrich College, double major in economics, statistics, and decision science. Sounds like 3, it's 2 majors though. I originally came here from Santa Fe, New Mexico, if we have any New Mexicans in the house. Yeah, all right, I like it. And I now work as an internal strategy consultant with IBM, and I actually live just outside of town in a place called Braddock, but just outside of Pittsburgh.
Hi, I'm Jamie Ernest. I was an art major, and I graduated in 2016. Right now, I'm sticking around Pittsburgh, can't get enough of it, and I'm from Alabama. Anyone from Alabama in the house? Yeah? Oh, yeah! Woo! Yeah, I'm really excited to be here today.
Hi, my name is Gaurav. I'm an international student and I'm from India, Kolkata. I'm studying material science and with an additional major in biomedical engineering, and I'm also an RA in Boss House. I'm a rising junior.
Hello, welcome. My name is Joe Mertz. I am, first of all, I was an alum of Carnegie Mellon in our engineering school. I've been faculty in computer science and now in our Heinz College and Dietrich College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and I've also taught in our Cutter campus. And I've had a son in the College of Fine Arts, so I've actually had many more ties to Carnegie Mellon I would have ever guessed.
Terrific. All right, so Gaurav, you're up first. We had a chance to reconnect before RA or as RA training was starting, and you shared a little bit with me about your time in Israel at Technion University this summer. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got connected with research at Carnegie Mellon and how that has shaped your experience here and your emerging plans for life after CMU?
Sure. So yeah, it probably all started when I was like 2 years ago sitting there, not as someone who knew what they wanted to do, but as someone who wanted to like figure out what they wanted to do and was kind of confused. And one of my first interactions with anyone from the faculty of Carnegie Mellon was during our convocation address, where Dr. Marlene Berman, who's really fantastic, she's in the psychology and neuroscience departments, I think. She gave our address, and she was so welcoming and inviting to having a conversation with us that I decided to go talk to her and get to know her. And so yeah, that's where it started, and she kind of just pointed me in different directions, trying to help me figure out where I wanted to go. And that's how I started, and not as a research assistant or an undergraduate researcher, but as someone who would go sit in on just lab meetings and listen to people talk and see how research works. And yeah, from there I moved to working with someone who's more in my field in the material science and engineering department. His name is Professor Tzahi Cohen-Carney, and he is from Israel. He works in, he did his bachelor's at the Technion. So it was through him that I got this opportunity to go and connect with a professor at the Technion who works on cancer nanotechnology. And this was actually all also made possible by the undergraduate research office, who have been so tremendously helpful. They, I did a program my first summer called the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship, where they fund you to stay in Pittsburgh and work with a professor here. But last year they launched a program called the International SURF, where they fund you to go to a country which is not the United States and work with a collaborator or a friend there. So that's through that program that I managed to go and work in Israel. And yeah, I just had the best time. I got to travel and work in a really really well-established lab.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. So Jamie, we've known each other for a long time, since that first lunch at Eat Unique on Craig Street. You were one of the students I admired from that very first time we met, and that admiration only grew as I got to know you better over the years. As I think about your path through college and your laser focus on your art and your fierce commitment to the social connections that emerged for you and were important to you throughout your tenure, and a real interest in engaging the broader community on important issues of the day, I'm so inspired by your Carnegie Mellon path. You did all that while holding down several jobs throughout your tenure and running an art gallery. Can you talk a little bit about how you appeared to do it all?
Yeah, so thank you for that lovely introduction, Gina. Like many students from around America, I come from a pretty low-income family. So after my financial aid and scholarships, I was like, okay, I have enough money in my savings to come to Carnegie Mellon for 1 year. I'm going to be so stoked. I'm going to take advantage of everything. I was totally ready to come here for 1 year. So My first week here, I like bebop on over to the Career Center, and I get 2 jobs. One working down the street at the Carnegie Museum of Art, teaching art classes on Saturday. Love that job, love kids. And then the other one was working with a student-run gallery on campus as their business manager and gradually moving up to the director of the gallery. So my first year, I had those 2 jobs, and I was on the dean's list the first semester. I seemed to be handling it pretty well, but by the time the second semester rolled around, wasn't handling it as well, and I went to my advisor at the beginning of my second year. I was like, all right, so I just got this 3rd job. And he was like, Jamie, what are you doing? You need to take care of yourself. You need to prioritize your time. And I was like, Mark, I really need this 3rd job. I want to come here for a 3rd year. I want to graduate. I want to keep working so I can afford to come here every year. And he was like, okay, because he knew he wasn't going to stop me. So he gave me this flyer for a time management and stress management workshop that was run through Academic Development, which I believe is run a few times a year now. So keep an eye out for that. So I went to this workshop, and I was already pretty good at time management, but I really learned how to prioritize my time and really make my schedule work for myself. And every semester after that, I continued to have 3 jobs until I graduated, and I remained on the dean's list every semester. It was great. And honestly, I feel that these jobs, I'm not resentful that I had to work 3 jobs throughout college. It was totally part of my Carnegie Mellon experience. These jobs taught me just as much as my academic side did, So I have all these skills, like I can use any power tool that you give me. I can public speak, I can teach, I can run a gallery, I can write budgets, fundraise, all of this stuff. So upon graduation, I felt like I had this entire set of skills next to my academic skills that made me that much more of a competitive candidate for jobs. And also, graduating with an art degree is not totally financially stable. So as an artist, you're your own boss, your own marketing manager, everything. You run everything. You write your own budget, you file taxes in a totally crazy manner. And so the things that I learned here to prioritize my time between all of these jobs really helped me to prioritize my time now as an artist. So I take my art practice also as a part-time job at the moment. I work 2 other jobs as well, and I feel that Carnegie Mellon really taught me how to manage all of these things at once and to completely make everything work for myself. And I guess I wanted CMU to love me just as much as I loved it.
I think we do, Jamie. And I'll say, having watched your art career unfold throughout your tenure, you've got a really stable future ahead of you. It's really exciting to see you thriving. Okay, well, so if I started to lay out all of the things that you were involved in as a student, we'd probably be here for a really long time. And some people those who didn't know you, may have seen your achievements as something that were about resume building. We sometimes hear that. People feel like they need to show how they're going to be the best of the best upon graduation. But that wasn't what your tremendous involvement, and we met through student government. I'll let you talk about whichever meaningful involvement opportunities you want to. For you, I saw in what you accomplished outside of your impressive academic accomplishments really as being totally about fun and just digging in and loving your Carnegie Mellon experience. So can you talk a little bit about the role that fun played in your CMU journey?
Sure. Thanks, Gina. The good news, you will have fun here at Carnegie Mellon, hopefully a lot of fun. And for me, I think that was somewhat of a motivating factor in a lot of what I did. This week, orientation, it's going to be busy, it's going to be wild, it's going to be crazy, it's going to go 1,000,000 miles an hour, but you're going to love it, you're going to have a ton of fun. And that actually, speaking of involvement, motivated me to become an HOC once upon a time. So you guys are in for a blast. It's a really cool role, just being able to build this community. And I think that was what motivated me and a lot of my involvement at this school. The motto of the university is, "My heart is in the work." however the admissions people do it, I think they find people whose heart is in the work, and it is a marriage of passion and effort, but it makes it just such an exciting place to be, and exciting to be around all these passionate people. I was in a club, Scotch and Soda, which I'm sure you'll probably hear about. Someone whooped, which is a student theater club. You know, for me, being an econ stat major, having a creative outlet like that was amazing and great, and getting to be up on a stage, you know, was a wonderful experience. I held some leadership roles there, mainly because I got excited and wanted to contribute to it and help shape that. Other thing, you know, I worked with WRCT, which is the campus radio station. I'd always wanted to do sports broadcasting, so I was like, they had a Craigslist post for a football play-by-play guy. I was like, why not? I'm gonna try it. And it was a hot mess at the start, but it turned into something where I broadcasted all 4 years. I'm actually on the side an announcer for the sport of extreme pogo sticking, which I made a connect. It's true, look it up online. Which I made the connection through a CMU guy though, and now in supplement to my job, I get to travel around internationally sometimes and talk about pogo sticks. The point being, you'll meet these crazy, weird, interesting people and kind of fuse these passions and be able to apply them. So hopefully that answered your question.
I think so. I definitely have enjoyed having fun alongside you over the years, Will, and look forward to many more years. So Joe, we've already outlined that you and I know each other in a whole bunch of capacities. And what I'd like you to reflect on first is as dad of our recently minted alumnus, Joe, and your daughter, who is a junior in the Dietrich College, to hear a little bit from your lens as a parent, what you have seen in action that is so special about the Carnegie Mellon experience that you've seen really in quite different ways with each of your kids.
Oh, certainly, happy to. One thing that I've found at Carnegie Mellon that I think makes us incredibly unique is how interdisciplinary the university really is. And you will find that a lot of people around you, from the faculty down, don't just live in one single discipline, but in fact cross 2, 3, or even many more disciplines. I think that's what really makes a university that is relatively small have influence well beyond its size. And so speaking from a parent, my daughter once said to me around this time when she was a freshman, I'm running into a lot of people who know what they're studying but don't know what they want to do. I know what I want to do, but I don't know how I study that. And I think we're an institution that we're able to find those right spots for whether you know you want to be a mechanical engineer and like, please, you know, help shepherd me to that. Or if you're not really sure, you can bring together resources from a number of different departments to make it work. So talking as a parent, my son got a Bachelor of Fine Arts from the School of Drama. His interests were in media, technology, animation, and robotics. And so he was one day taking set design, and he'd be painting sets, or as a freshman opening and closing the curtain. And then at another time, he's working on a project course with Red Whitaker, who's one of the world premier roboticists. And so it allowed him to kind of create this place that he really cared about. And now he is employed. Whoa, that feels really good to say. And he is working at Chicago Fly House, and he's an automation rigging tech. So he is doing high-tech theater stuff in one of the big theater cities in the US. My daughter she wants to create and run a studio in the way that Miyazaki did with Ghibli Studios. So she has no small goals. And at Carnegie Mellon, she's weaving together majors in creative writing and global studies with minors in animation and film studies. And so it's a place, oh, and she's, through the research grants, she's already had 2 research grants and has already produced, directed, written 2 films. And so it's really a great place I've found for my kids, you know, where there was at first wondering, well, but if they end up being interested in marine biology, this might not be the good place for them. But this place is much bigger than it seems because of all of the this plus that, which is available here.
Thanks, Joe. And I got to see one of those films last spring, which was really quite extraordinary. Okay, we could go on and be here all morning, and I would love to sit with our panelists and talk with you all day, but I think I'm going to move into some closing questions, one for each of you, so that you can share some parting wisdom with our audience. Okay, so Gaurav, I'll start with you. You talked a little bit about being one of the people in this tent a few years ago and what that felt like for you and how it was a little bit overwhelming and not really knowing what was the path ahead. As somebody who's involved with our residential education program, you mentioned being an RA, and somebody who's been involved in the orientation program for more than 1 year now, what advice would you share with students about how they can make the most of the transition to Carnegie Mellon through orientation and the residential house experience?
Thanks, Gina. That's a really good question. And yeah, this week is going to be so energetic, right? It's going to be so many interactions with people just from all kind of backgrounds everywhere on campus. And it's an opportunity to create your foundation here. And so my advice to all the incoming first years, not just for this week, but for their entire first year experience, is to engage. It's to engage with people in your own way. If you're someone who wants to engage with just one person, have a good conversation, do that. But if you're someone who wants to go out and just really meet a lot of people, do that. Just engage in your own way to kind of get to know people in a sense that will have this place feel more like your home. And I think we as residential education staff and the orientation counselors really want for this to happen. Our goal is at the end of this week, it might not happen that early, but is for you to be able to call Carnegie Mellon your home.
Thanks, Gaurav. So, Will, you're a few years out from graduation, but still very connected to the Carnegie Mellon experience. If you could think back to your orientation, what advice would you give your first-year self today about the journey ahead if you were to start it all over again?
I think a big part of CMU, and it kind of goes to what you said about connecting, is really embrace it, branch out, you know, even to the president's remarks. Some of the best classes I ever took were not necessarily related to my major, but I learned a lot. They helped me, you know, see the world through my major better. You know, go to clubs you never think you might be interested in. Check out cultural group shows. There's so much you can learn about the world from this place. Such a diverse group of people. The more you can engage in it, the more I think passionate, energized, and excited you'll be in your own work. And I certainly found it an energizing place.
All right, can I press a little bit?
You may.
You were, one of the questions I had planned to ask if we had all the time in the world this morning was about failure. So we're presenting a pretty rosy picture up here, which is every day at Carnegie Mellon. But the reality is college is challenging. It should be challenging. It should challenge you to be your best and to work through hardship. So you and I have talked over the years about the role that failure should play in a college education. Do you have any quick words of wisdom?
Totally. I was maybe going to segue there and then wasn't sure on time. I think, honestly, one of the biggest lessons you do get here, and one of my favorite lessons, I guess, in a way, is how to fail, how to deal with failure, how to be supported through failure. And I know one of the things you asked me when we were preparing of this is like regrets. And I honestly am really glad I did have a lot of chances to fail. Most literally, I recall sophomore, junior year, failing calc whatever. I thought I was done with math, and I wasn't. And I was going crazy, and I went into my advisor. I'm like, my life is over. I'm failing calculus. And she's like, drop it. You're going to be okay. We'll figure out the plan. And like the clouds went away. I was like, oh. And look at me, I'm fine now. So it's okay, to work through that. There are plenty other examples in clubs and groups and yada, da, da, da. What's nice and what's helpful is really building up that network, the connections, the people here, learning from that failure. And I do think because it is such a tight-knit, close place, you will have plenty of moments of struggle and failure, I assure you. But it's so many good learning opportunities from that. I think the thing is to find the people who can help you find perspective in it.
And there are many of them here. Thanks, Will. So Jamie, you once described to me what is quintessential about the CMU experience, and I loved what you had to say. Can you share with our audience what you find intoxicating about Carnegie Mellon?
Yeah, so I only applied to 2 universities. The rest were all art conservancies. So when I came to visit here, the thing that was so incredibly intoxicating was the amount of passion on this campus, and it's still intoxicating. I can feel it in this room with all of you new freshmen, that everybody here loves what they do. They're curious about what they do. They love that everyone else loves what they do, and I feel like there's almost no other university like this, and it's the most amazing thing. I mean, I can't get away. I'm still here, so I love it. It's great.
Thanks, Jamie. All right, Joe, I'll move to you. As we think about our families who will get to spend some time with us today, but by the end of the day, the plan is to make the transition home, what advice would you offer parents and families about how they can support their kids' transition to university life?
We've now had, my wife and I, 4 years over the dinner table discussing and testing this question. And I think the thing that we've learned that's most important is to start to trust our kids. Now, we would have always said that we trusted them, but still, we have a lot of wisdom, a lot of years of experience, and a lot of time to be ruminating on what they should be doing. And, but yet, our son was always treated us on like a need-to-know basis. And that need wasn't very often, and he'd call on one night he called on a Thursday night. My head is Thursday night is still a hard-working night. He was calling because he was curious about some aspects of making a pot roast and how you get the gravy right. So this worried us. Also, once I made the mistake freshman year, I knew what his schedule was, so I thought I'd just catch him because I had something to give him as he came out of class. So I stood outside the class and I waited, and finally it seemed like everybody was gone, and I looked in and he wasn't there. And again, I'm a professor, you're supposed to go to class. And so there was, but yet, and my son took every health and safety course that's offered at the university, primarily for staff members and graduate students. And he actually won an award for taking them on them. We're also thinking, what are you doing here, and why is this your focus? But surprisingly, he had a picture of where he wanted to go and what made sense where he wanted to go. And once he was looking, we saw, this is in technical theater, where it actually can be a very dangerous place with large weights that might fall from high places. And so all of these extra security things came into play. And he actually was able to put together, from his interests here, a nice set of skills that he was there, very marketable, got a great job in Chicago, he's happy there, and he's doing very interesting work. And so it's been hard for us, but just realizing that trust, you know, some of you might be tiger moms or tiger dads. Some of you might be, as I call my wife, a panda mom, you know, but still being able to stand back and figure out our kids at this point, we've trained them well, let them make their decisions, and know that the faculty, the staff, the advisors are here. We've seen a few kids before, and we are really interested in helping them be successful and both personally and great contributors to society.
Thanks, Joe. So as expected, our time this morning has gone quickly, and as I think about all that we aspire to do here at Carnegie Mellon, which was discussed by our president, Farnam Jahanian, and as I shared a little bit in my opening remarks, I hope you agree with me that our panelists have been wonderful ambassadors, demonstrating in real time the many ways that we together are achieving our vision as a great university. Before I close our program, please join me in thanking our panelists for sharing their reflections with us this morning.